So Ahimsa, which means non-violence, can be practiced in a variety of ways. I think the most important one is speech. Because perhaps we hurt each other with our speech much more than anything else. So I love this teaching called the 3 gates of speech. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And it's like literally 3 gates that you first check, is it true? If it's true, that gate opens. But also, is it kind? If it's kind, it opens. And is it even needed? Is it even necessary? Only then it opens. When we speak like this, chances are it's much more wholesome and much less likely to hurt someone. And of course, in order to do that, we have to become mindful of our thoughts, because you see, your thoughts and speech are 2 sides of one coin. In order to be mindful of speech, you automatically have to be mindful of your thinking process. So this is one important way to practice Ahimsa. Another one is simply to not do to others what you would not like them to do to you. So you don't want them to take your thing without asking. You don't want them to try to hurt you in any way, trouble you in any way. So can I be mindful of how my thoughts, words and actions are impacting others? And too often we limit our idea of Ahimsa only to human beings. But human beings are just a small part of this planet. There are countless other living beings. So how can we live our life with as less cruelty as possible? One of the biggest ways we can do that is through our diet. Most people don't know, but we're killing billions of animals every week. Billions of them. I mean, come on. We don't really need that to survive. And we are facing species extinction like never before. So to be mindful of what I eat every day, and can I move towards, one big argument is, but even plants have life. What about that? And you're right, plants do have life. But do you realize you have to kill many more plants to feed the animal, to then eat the animal? So if plants have life, then let's reduce that. I think most people know the difference between cutting a carrot and cutting someone's tail off or cutting someone's head off. I think we all know that difference. We're not that foolish. So Ahimsa at the level of speech, Ahimsa at the level of action, Ahimsa at the level of thought, and Ahimsa at the level of our diet, the kind of food we have. So can we minimize that? One way to do that is to eat a plant-based diet, which again and again they've also found is much healthier for us. Animals that eat other animals don't see in color. Only animals that eat plants see in color. This is something that nature is telling us. And especially in India, we have this great fascination with milk. Some of the best things ever given to us is milk. Milk is meant for the child of that animal. It's not meant for some other animal, right? So we have a lot of misconceptions around this. And you'll find this, I would just say, be open-minded, experiment. A lot of the people giving us this advice are themselves not that healthy. They're themselves overweight, they're themselves getting sick with all kinds of things. Milk was always meant to grow fast, right? The child has to grow fast. And what are the diseases nowadays? Cancer. What is cancer? It's a fast growth because we're having too much milk. So as we become mindful and start investigating the kind of food we are having, the kind of impact it's happening, start thinking more systemically, the impact of my diet on other beings, on the planet, and of course on my health. As you start thinking like this, truly Ahimsa becomes much more a part of our lives. And we feel within ourselves, we feel so much lighter. We know that I'm minimally hurting other living beings. Yeah, I read a book called Diet for a New America, which is written by a person called John Robbins. And most people have heard of Baskin-Robbins ice cream. And the moment they think of that, they smile. And John Robbins was the heir to the Baskin-Robbins empire. So he was next in line to own that gigantic business. And instead, he wrote this book called Diet for New America, which begins with the cutest stories about animals and how every animal is intelligent. We think only dogs and cats are intelligent. We get very horrified when we hear that in China they kill dogs and cats. How can that be? While we do that to other animals. But every animal is intelligent. Cows are intelligent, pigs are intelligent, chicken are incredibly intelligent. They have a pecking order. If you give chicken the egg of a duck, it'll take care of it like its own, and it'll push the duck into water when it comes time. How would chickens know that? Chickens are incredibly intelligent. All animals are intelligent. So when I first read that first part, I was very touched by the stories. And then he went into what actually goes on in the food industry. Most of us don't want to see what's going on. I think there's a documentary on YouTube called Glass Walls, which basically says that if these factory farms had, where animals are grown and slaughtered, had glass walls, we would never be able to eat that. We would never be able to survive, support anything like that. Because when an animal is treated like that on the streets, we get horrified. But this is what's happening all the time behind closed doors. So when I read about that and I saw the tremendous cruelty and the tremendous impact on the way the animals were treated, and so unnatural diets, huge use of antibiotics. One of the reasons we have superbugs now is not because humans misuse antibiotics, but most of the antibiotics go to animals, farm animals, because they're kept in very, very untidy, unpleasant, unclean environments. And the last part of the book was about the environmental impact of livestock industry. So when I read that book, it really opened my eyes. I cried numerous times when I read that book because I was really moved by this. And the biggest thing I learned from that book is the single biggest thing I can do if I claim to love the earth is to live a predominantly, completely, I would say, plant-based, whole foods, plant-based diet. Good for my health, good for the environment. And if I claim to love animals, as most people do, most people say they're animal lovers, right? It's hard to meet a person who doesn't. But they limit this idea of animals to dogs and cats. But can we expand that notion? And can we really see all beings as our brothers and sisters? And if we consider ourselves to be the wisest and most intelligent animal on this planet, we're just animals actually, can we have that compassion for others? And can we make that choice every day by voting with our fork and voting with our wallet for a peacer, more kind world? For me, it's an extension of my values. So I value kindness, I value compassion. I value treating others as I would have them treat me. I value a sense of oneness and equality, right? So would I do to another being or to the child of another being what I would never tolerate them doing to us? I mean, if we, right now, a superior species landed on our planet and began to colonize us the way that we colonize animals. I don't know, most people don't know this, but you know that one of the darkest times in human history is the Holocaust, what happened in Germany, Nazi Germany. But do you know that where they learned all of that from? All that technology came from factory farming. All that technology for how people were herded together, how they were kept together, and how they were killed, it came from factory farms. And that technology went on to what is still today used in factory farms. What we consider the worst time in human history is happening every day of our life. So it's just a matter of time, just like people in Germany were like, oh, but we couldn't do anything, that was just the way it was. And now they're deeply ashamed of that part of their history. So right now we are closing our eyes to a gigantic Holocaust happening, much, much bigger scale than ever happened. Some millions of Jews died. Billions, I think 4 billion animals die every week. Every week, right? So what are we talking about spirituality if we are not expanding the ambit of our compassion, right? And you know, we all, I think the cutest beings are always the newborn ones, right? So are we going to deprive the newborn ones of their milk? Are we going to deprive the newborn ones of the warmth of their mother? Or take it away and raise it for veal? So when you realize this, and of course most people aren't aware of it, so we don't want to blame them, but it is time for us to open up and to realize that our compassion cannot just be sitting on a meditation cushion. Our compassion has to extend to every relationship and to every purchasing decision, and definitely to our food and diet as well. So many of the products we consume have been tested on animals, right? For no need. Why don't you test it on humans? If humans have to consume them, they should be tested on humans, isn't it? So it's, I don't understand how we can truly claim to be spiritual if we are not connecting with that oneness and if our actions are not coming in line with that oneness.